Okay, this video is not going to be for everyone, but there will be insights in here for anyone who's got a sales process where you are focused on a technical sale. So where you have an initial qualification or discovery, then you probably go and do an on-site survey, something like that, and then you put the proposal together and then you close a prospect. But it's specifically, we've been working with a number of solar companies recently, and there's the same problems that keep coming up in every solar company or renewables company that we work with. So in this video, I'm going to show you through the 2 or 3 things that I see most often so that you can implement these changes and you can help them implement them in your business to help you close more deals in less time. If you're wondering who I am, I'm Joe Milnes. I'm the founder of Revitech. I've helped over 300 founders of businesses with complex and technical sales to generate over 185 million pounds in revenue. And I've led sales teams that have gone from 0 to 1.2 million a month in revenue in less than 10 months. I'm making videos like this to show that we help people understand what it takes to be successful in sales so that you can close more deals in less time with fewer calls and make more money. What is the biggest problem that I see in terms of commercial solar deals stalling? And that is that people are still talking about sustainability to corporate clients. Now, the administration, or the tide, if you like, of sustainability has changed. A few years ago, it was everyone was kind of going towards like sustainability. It was a really hot topic. Also, electricity prices, whilst they're still high, they are more stable than they used to be. They were really volatile, which people wanted kind of some stability around that, and they're less volatile now. So what you've got is, before, when the market was buoyant, you had people being focused on sustainability, and then you had really volatile electricity prices. So it was really easy to justify going to solar and edge against the volatility in the solar prices. But we haven't got that now. Solar prices and the electricity prices have stabilized, so it's not a massive priority that people are talking about all the time. And also sustainability is much lower on the agenda. Everyone thinks, yeah, we're doing it, but actually no one's really taking action. And how that affects US companies in the UK, then it's really lower, a lot lower on the agenda, which is why a lot of sustainability leaders that we speak to are kind of pulling their hair out. So one of the biggest mistakes is like I say, still positioning solar as a sustainability initiative. Now, in the UK specifically, solar is a really good investment if you've got a large commercial roof space. It offers an internal rate of return that is significant. It's a payback of 3 to 5 years, which is brilliant. And you save on the electricity. In fact, it'd have to be catastrophic for a company not to make a really good return on it. So one of the things that we found when we were dealing with a solar company recently is they were positioning to the engineering managers and talking about sustainability. The engineering managers were then going to talk to the CFOs and talking about sustainability, and CFOs were like, yeah, don't really care about that. Whereas what we needed to do, and what they did, and what they saw instant results is rather than talking about sustainability, they started focusing on the internal rate of return. Now, the internal rate of return, for anyone who's unfamiliar, is the rate of return which CFOs or FDs look and say, if I deploy the capital in this direction, how quickly will it get a return on it? How hard will that money work for our business? That's what a CFO or an FD's job is to deploy capital in the way that's going to most propel the business forward. So if you're talking about sustainability, it's a low priority, but if you offer them a really good, favorable internal rate of return, then it looks really strong. So start speaking and positioning your solution in the language that the stakeholders want to do it and sign off. So don't assume that sustainability is going to get a box tick now. It might not. What we'll do is a robust business case for going through commercial solar and getting an internal rate of return, which is 20 to 30%, which is really favorable in today's climate. And in the same vein of that, what we also see is that the proposals have a lot of technical information. You have to include information, but really you should have the business case front and center, and you should also address the cost of inaction. This is something that's often forgot about, and loads of solar companies forget it. But given that if you could effectively finance a commercial solar agreement and it would pay for itself, so you wouldn't have to pay any money down and it would pay for itself ongoing with the savings on the electricity, you want to be able to put that in a business case. So you say that every month you don't do this, it is costing you X in savings that you weren't able to recover from this point forward. So you're shining a light on the fact that by not investing at this time, you're missing out on savings that you can never ever recoup again because that month has gone. By highlighting the cost of inaction, it makes it easier to create urgency. We can't engineer urgency or a compelling event, but you can shine a light on how much it costs for the prospect to stay exactly where they are. So that's the second thing. Is the first, obviously making sure you're speaking in a language that your stakeholders understand. Second is making sure that you're highlighting the cost of inaction in your proposals. And the third is making sure that your assets sell for you when you aren't in the room. Now, solar is probably the worst industry for this, but most solar companies have huge proposals with loads of technical information, loads of kilowatt hours, loads of sizing, panels, blah, 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 blah. No one really cares about that other than the engineering department. What they do care about is the business justification. They care about the insurance on the business, what happens if you go bust, all of these things. You need to address the frequently asked questions and the common objections in your proposals rather than just focus it on like a tech dump of all the specifications. Yes, you will have to include the specifications and stuff like that in, but what you do need to do is to make sure that the common objections and the awkward questions that get asked are going to be addressed in your proposal. So what happens if you go bust? What happens to the insurance? What about the fire risk? How much is it going to generate? What happens if the electricity prices go down? What happens if they really go up? Like what if the manufacturer of the panels goes bust? All of these questions which can stall deals and stall decisions, which is the reason you get deals that are just stuck in nowhere, you should address in your proposal and have them up front. And that's it. They're the biggest reasons. So if you make sure that your proposals sell for you when you aren't in the room and answer the commonly asked objections, if you have documents that talk about the cost of inaction and shine a light on how much it costs for a prospect to stay with you, if you have a proposal that speak in the language that the stakeholders want to hear, so sustainability, no, not as much now, internal rate of return and money saved, hedge against electricity prices, yes, tick, that's much more likely to do. And you'll find that the deals move much more quickly. Now, the other thing, last bonus, is one last thing, is that because in the UK specifically, we have the feasibility and you've got to go to the grid and things like that, and it can delay things. You want to make sure that every meeting with your prospect has another meeting booked in the diary before you finish that call. Otherwise, what happens is you'll have the meeting, you'll say, yeah, I'll do the feasibility survey. You have the feasibility survey, then nothing happens. And then you've got to bring that prospect who's forgotten about it back. Meanwhile, you're thinking, oh yeah, it's all the feasibility is done. We just need to get the sign off. So what you want to do is to schedule appointments throughout the part of the sales process and make sure that you're going to site or keeping in contact with their prospect and leading them through that process so they don't wander off into the abyss with your proposal and have a chance for other competitors leaking in. And that's it. I hope you found that valuable. Like I say, it's very niche in terms of the video, but is a trend I've seen in a number of companies that we've worked with recently. If you would like me to look at your sales and marketing process and identify any potential bottlenecks and areas where you can improve, then it will cost you a huge sum of money, £1. We will do a diagnostic of your sales process, which was £3,500. We'll now do it for £1, and to give you an opportunity to see what it's like and check that we know what we're talking about before you commit to paying us to do any additional work. And that's it. The link's in description. So if you found that video helpful, then drop a like and a subscribe. If there's any other topics or particular niche industries that you'd like me to cover in videos like this, then drop a note in the comments. Other than that, I will see you in the next video.